When an airplane needs a whole extra page to list its crashes, you pay attention. That is the Douglas DC-4 story. It first flew in the early 1940s, served in war as the C-54 Skymaster, then moved into the raw early years of post-war air travel. The every third plane crashed line sounds close, but context matters. The DC-4 was not cursed. It was a tough machine, thrown into the hardest jobs at the hardest time to fly. Born in war, the C-54 hauled troops, fuel, parts, and even heads of state. It crossed oceans and the hump route over high mountains into China. Navigation meant dead reckoning and simple radio beacons. There were no satellites or live tracking. Runways were short and rough. If weather closed in, crews relied on skill, luck, and a lot of sky. Those wartime losses count in the total before peace even starts. After the war, surplus C-54s flooded the market. Airlines big and small bought them. Some flew well-funded trunk routes. Many flew hard routes on thin budgets across Africa, South America, and remote parts of Asia. Terrain was harsh. Radio aids were few. Maintenance and training quality varied. A tough airframe was worked to the bone, and summer storms could hide mountains. Accident logs from those years read hit hill on approach and lost in weather. It was not carelessness. The tools were basic and the margins thin. The airplane itself set limits. The DC-4 had no cabin pressure. Crews could not climb to smooth air at 30,000 feet to ride above storms. They flew at 10 to 14,000 feet, where ice builds fast and cloud tops loom. The DC-4 had 4 big radial engines that could haul a load but needed care. Parts could fail, a carb could ice, or a prop could race. One engine out was manageable. 2 on the same side could become a fight, especially in hot and high air. Automation was light. Most of the time, hands flew, and minds kept time, fuel, and needles by hand. Weather and terrain gave no slack. This was before ground alert gear that shouts pull up and before moving maps. Many approaches were radio range patterns and time and distance guesses in cloud. A stronger than planned wind could move the airplane short or long of safety. Ice raised stall speed. Fog on a dark runway could force a go-around with hills in the mist. The cockpit workload was heavy. Add long duty days, the drone of 4 engines, and a cabin without pressure or modern climate control, and you get real fatigue. Reports show human factors again and again. A missed checklist item, a final speed 5 knots low, a heading a few degrees off in cloud. Small slips in a bad valley or a bad storm were enough to end a flight. If one scene sums up the type, picture the Berlin airlift in 1948 and 1949. Skymasters lined up wingtip to wingtip, taking off every few minutes to feed a city. That bridge kept 2 million people alive, and the C-54 carried a huge share. The price was wear, tear, and some accidents that now sit in the totals. Not every operator bled airplanes. Some carriers in North America and Europe trained hard, kept up maintenance, and picked safer routes and alternates. Others flew into rough fields and rough weather because the route needed it or the contract paid for it, and their losses were higher. The close-in trunk routes did fine. The far-out bush routes ate airplanes. Then came better tools. The DC-6 brought cabin pressure, which let crews climb above much of the trouble. By the late 1950s and early 1960s, jets arrived with more height and speed. Airports added longer runways and radio landing aids to guide a glide path to the numbers. Weather radar moved into noses, and ground alert gear plus terrain maps warned crews about hills. As those changes rolled in, accident rates fell, and the DC-4 did less of the hardest work. So was the DC-4 dangerous? Totals alone say yes. Context says look again. It was sturdy and honest, but it lacked height to dodge the worst weather and the backup layers we expect now. It was asked to carry heavy loads into hard places with thin support. In that world, too many bad days piled up. The airplane paid the price for a young industry learning how to fly long routes with many people on board. One more thread matters. The DC-4 spread air travel to places that had never seen large four-engine transports. It hauled food, medicine, and mail to towns hard to reach by road or sea, and moved families and workers across seas and deserts and forests. The loss lists show pain, but the route maps show reach and hope. A few DC-4s and C-54s still fly today, their engines thundering like it's 1947. These aircraft built global air routes, carried people, food, and hope, and faced ice, dark ridges, and danger with grit and courage. More than accidents, their legacy is resilience and progress in aviation. If you love stories of flight, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment to keep aviation history alive.